There are two photos. The first photo depicts a child in a wheelchair smiling for the camera. The second photo shows a woman supporting a young boy with crutches.
In 1969, the Utah legislature passed a law requiring the education of all children over age 5, no matter how severe their disability.
There are two photos. The first photo shows a child sitting at the top of a metal slide. The second photo shows a man offering a young boy a toy.
Parents of children with disabilities worked hard for the passage of House Bill 105, as it was called then.
There are three photos. The first one shows a young boy and a young girl working on a craft. The second photo shows a teacher and her students gathered around a piano as she plays. The third and final photo shows a teacher and her students gathered in a circle.
However, even after House Bill 105, implementation was uneven. A 1975 report from the Council for Exceptional Children,
A graphic of a paper report.
a professional organization dedicated to high-quality education for individuals with disabilities, indicated that Utah's special education law was not fully in place even 6 years later.
There are three photos. The first one shows a playground in front of a school building. The second photo shows a man holding hands with a young boy, and a little girl looks out into the distance wearing protective headgear. The third photo shows a woman holding the door open for a child.
The Exceptional Child Center, now known as the Institute for Disability Research, Policy, and Practice, opened in 1972 with several classrooms for children with disabilities.
There are two photos. The first one shows two women supporting a young boy in a wheelchair. The second one shows a young girl wearing headphones as she works on some schoolwork.
In those early days, professionals worked with some students and families who had never received services before.
On this screen, we see a portrait of Alan Hoffmeister with a quote reading, "These were kids that showed up at the schoolhouse door and were literally told to go away." There are also two photos. The first one shows a young girl getting off a bus. The second one shows a young girl in a wheelchair.
These were kids who showed up at the schoolhouse door and were literally told to go away, said Alan Hoffmeister, one of IDRPP's pioneers.
There are two photos. The first photo shows a group of children sitting on some chairs. The second photo shows a young boy and a young girl sitting as they watch a projector screen.
It wasn't until 1975 that federal law forced schools to take them. Special education has evolved since then.
There are two photos. The first one shows a woman helping a child in a wheelchair out of the bus. The second one shows a young girl raising her hand in class.
In the 1980s, classrooms at IDRPP were closed and those who attended them moved into public schools.
There are two photos. The first one shows a young woman using an adaptive spoon to help her eat. The second one shows a group of children and a teacher in an art classroom.
In a nationwide effort to end the segregation of students with disabilities, that process was completed in 1988.
On this screen, there is a photo with a playground in front of a school building.
But for many children with disabilities, their first educational experiences happened here after they were denied elsewhere.
There are two photos. The first one shows a group of adults and children doing an outside activity. The second one shows adults and children indoors doing an activity. There's also a portrait of Bill Thane and a quote that says, "The kids seemed to come out of the woodwork when there was somewhere for them to go."
The kids seemed to come out of the woodwork when there was somewhere for them to go, said Bill Thane, another one of the Institute's pioneers.